Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is gonna blow your mind. Did you know that if you buy a BYD car in China, then drive it all the way to Europe, you can actually get free maintenance over there? Stick around till the end of the video, I'll tell you exactly how that works. Now, let's talk about a super interesting country hidden in the heart of Europe. This place claims to be descended from the ancient Xiongnu people, loves dumpling-style food just like we do in China, and even has the same name structure. Family name first, given name second. But what's really wild is it's quietly turning into the secret base for China's electric car takeover in Europe. Yep, you guessed it, Hungary. And it just became the new European headquarters for BYD. On the 15th of May, BYD officially announced they're moving their HQ from the Netherlands to Budapest, Hungary's capital city. This was a huge event. When the Hungarian Prime Minister, the Governor of Guangdong, and BYD CEO all showing up to celebrate, that's no small deal. But here's what's even more surprising. Before this move, BYD had already invested in two factories in Hungary, one for commercial vehicles and one for passenger cars. So why would BYD pour so much money into a small European country that has less than one-third the population of Chongqing? What's so special about Hungary? What is BYD really after here? To find out, we visited one of BYD's 3 dealerships in Hungary, hoping to uncover a few juicy details about the cozy relationship between BYD and this unexpected European partner. So, the dealership we visited is called the Schiller Group. It was founded way back in 1980, and it's now run by 3 generations of the same family. Pretty cool, right? Schiller sells both new and used cars, and their main focus has always been on Japanese and European brands. But when it comes to Chinese cars, they only sell one, and that's BYD. Now here's something that really stood out. Unlike other dealerships that crammed different brands into one showroom, Schiller gave BYD its own dedicated space. A huge modern showroom that's over 1,000 square meters. Even better, they hired a Chinese-speaking sales rep named Eva, just to help Chinese customers feel more at home. That's honestly the first time we've seen something like this in any of our overseas dealership visits.
他是我的老板，他的名字是 Balázs.
Eva's Mandarin was solid, no problem there, but when it came to BYD cars, well, she still has a bit to learn. After a long chat, lots of back and forth, we finally got some solid info. BYD's passenger cars have only been in Hungary for less than 2 years. And this dealership we visited, it opened just last year in February 2023. Right now, their monthly sales can hit up to 100 cars at peak, but they usually stay steady at around 50 to 60 units. And get this, their highest monthly revenue reached 1.5 billion Hungarian forints. That's around 4 million USD. Not bad at all. In just 1 year, BYD has launched about 10 models across Europe. And this store basically sells all of them. Last year's bestseller was the ATTO 3, but now it's been overtaken by the new kid on the block, the Sealion 7, which launched earlier this year. BYD is clearly picking up the speed in Europe, and Hungary seems to be the perfect launchpad. So, is BYD actually doing well in Hungary? Let's take a look at the Hungarian EV market to get a clear picture. In the first quarter of this year, Hungary sold 2,408 fully electric cars. That's only about 7% of the total car market. Out of 31 European countries, Hungary ranks around 20th for EV adoption. So yeah, it's definitely in the lower middle range. And here's the thing, even that 7% came with a lot of help. The Hungarian government has been throwing serious money at EV adoption, funded directly by the European Union. They've handed out billions of forints to help companies buy electric vehicles. The subsidy depends on company size but can go as high as 4 million forints per car. That's over 10,000 euros. But if you walk the streets in Hungary today, you'll still mostly see the old guard, Toyota and Volkswagen gas cars rolling the roads. You might spot a Tesla or a BMW EV here and there, just enough to remind you they exist. Chinese EVs though, almost invisible. One of our local friends said they've only seen 1 or 2 BYDs, and those were owned by Chinese expats. And here's the crazy part. Last year, BYD sold only about 1,400 cars in Hungary. But that was enough to grab a massive 70% share of the entire electric vehicle market in the country. Still, let's be real. The whole Hungarian EV market isn't huge. Even if every EV buyer chose BYD, they'd be lucky to sell 10,000 cars a year at most. So, why is BYD dropping big money in such a small pond? Well, they must have bigger plans behind the scene. And after digging a little deeper, I think I figured it out. Hungary's got a lot going for it. If I had to sum it up in one line, Hungary is the kind of little brother who's got both charms and skills. Let's break it down. First, politics and partnerships. Among all EU countries, Hungary is probably the friendliest with China. Anytime the EU pushes an anti-China policy, Hungary is usually the one standing up and voting against it. Now sure, Belarus and Serbia are also super close with China, but they're not in the European Union. And if BYD wants to win big in Europe, they need a foothold inside the EU. That's where Hungary comes in. Being part of the EU means easier access, policy support, and less red tape for Chinese companies trying to sell cars across the continent. But it's not just government ties. Hungarian people are also incredibly friendly towards Chinese visitors. While we were visiting the dealership, we met a guy from Shanxi, China, who had driven his BYD tank across multiple countries. Yes, a full-on international road trip, and had just rolled into Budapest for a little maintenance. The shop changed his oil, swapped out a filter, and in the end, they didn't even charge him a single forint. The dealership manager even came out just to take a selfie with him. Now that's next level hospitality.
感谢以往，感谢他们的店，这个给我保养了以后没有收费。
Yep, it's 100% true. We saw it. A BYD bought in China, driven all the way to Europe, getting free maintenance right here in Hungary. That Chinese road trip legend? He told us he had been driving across 8 countries in just over a month. And everywhere he went, people were super friendly. That says a lot. Now, having a good relationship with China is one thing, but there is another reason BYD is bidding big on Hungary: stability. Hungary's political climate is surprisingly steady. Their Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán, gets a lot of criticism from liberal voices in Europe. But he is known for being practical and putting national interests first. And when it comes to massive investments like building factories, that kind of stability is a huge deal. And Hungary isn't just stable, it's capable. Check this out. Only 3 countries in the world have factories for all 3 German luxury giants: BMW, Benz, and Audi. Those countries are Germany, China, and Hungary. Even more impressive, 14 out of the world's top 20 auto parts suppliers have already set up shop in Hungary. No wonder they call it the Detroit of Europe. The automotive and parts industry is a major pillar of the Hungarian economy. And here's the kicker. Hungary offers much lower labor and production costs compared to many Western European countries. So for automakers like BYD, it's cheaper, faster, and easier to get things done here. So BYD setting up a factory in Hungary, it's actually a super smart move. Why? Because everything they need is already here, from auto parts suppliers to a strong local workforce. At the Schiller dealership, we also heard some honest feedback from BYD customers. First, many people feel that BYD's prices are a bit too high. That's mostly because the European Union has added extra tariffs on Chinese EVs, making them more expensive in the EU market. Second, after-sales service still isn't quite there yet. It's not as strong or convenient as more established brands. But the dealership manager was very confident. He believes that once the new Sealion factory starts production, these problems like high costs and slow parts supply will be quickly solved. In other words, local production, faster service, better prices, and smoother support. Now let's talk about BYD's new factory in Sealion, because the location they picked is absolutely brilliant. Go 2 hours east, you're in Ukraine, 3 hours west, Austria, head straight north, boom, Germany. It's like placing the perfect move in a game of Go. One smart decision, and the whole European market opens up. Hungary isn't just somewhere in Europe. It's called the heart of Europe and the pearl of Danube for a reason. It sits right at the crossroads of the continent, which makes it the perfect launchpad for Chinese companies like BYD to quickly respond to demand across the entire EU. Alright, after breaking it all down, I've gotta say it, major respect to Hungary. This little brother really knows how to find the money moves. They've managed to attract over 10 billion euros in investment from top Chinese giants like BYD, NIO, CATL, and Sanuda, and they're doing it with style. Honestly, it's not even like China is lifting Hungary up anymore. It's more like China's biggest EV players are proudly teaming up with this European powerhouse of a younger brother. So the question is, Should the other big European countries feel jealous? Or maybe just a little regretful? Either way, Hungary played this game smart. And it's changing the way Chinese companies enter Europe one strategic move at a time.